My husband Doug and I recently recorded a video series where we talked about common questions that we get in our marriage. One of those questions is whether Doug is my caregiver. I encourage you to go back and check out that series because today we're going to talk about how my caregiving team and how I have found them over the years. Now, this is another question that I get a lot, so thank you, Sarah, for being the most recent person to ask me. I'm recording this video because I realize that many of my followers have disabilities and are looking for caregivers, and I want to provide some resources. Not only are we going to cover how I find my caregivers, but we'll also talk about how to create a healthy environment for your caregivers to work in. And this video will also be a great resource for anyone interested in working as a caregiver or would like to learn more about caregiving as a profession. Now, it's going to be a long video, but it's packed with great info, so be sure and stay with me. So soon after my accident at age 16, my family and I went through the county and a local agency for caregiving services. But we quickly discovered that caregivers would sometimes fail to show up, and other times they would say they wouldn't do certain things when it came to my cares. And if I didn't have my mom around, I don't know what I would have done. But after I graduated high school and went to college at Winona State, I no longer qualified for government assistance or Medicaid. At that time, a person didn't qualify for Medicaid if they had more than $2,000 to their name. And with the settlement from my accident, I had a fund set up to help me pay for my caregivers. So that's when I started paying for my caregivers out of pocket. So at Winona, I began working with a local caregiving agency. And the advantages of working through an agency are that the caregivers are trained, and if one is unable to work, they'll find a replacement for me. But my experience with this agency was awful. First of all, it was really expensive. Most of the money I paid went to the agency and not the caregiver. Secondly, I didn't like it when new caregivers would fill in without notice. They didn't know what to do when they came to work. And I also had caregivers come who were just really set in their ways and felt like they could do things the way they did with their other clients. Shouldn't I be the one to get to decide how I'm cared for? And finally, I actually had a caregiver scam me. She forged her timesheets and we ended up with thousands of dollars in fraudulent bills. The agency didn't even fire her for this because they were so short-staffed. So that's when I decided to privately hire and pay my caregivers. I could pay them more money and I could train them myself with my preferences. I lived on a campus with over 10,000 college students, so I easily found female students who enjoyed working for me. I put signs on bulletin boards and told people I could train them if they had no experience. And the rest is history. Ever since college, this is how I've managed my caregiving staff. To find caregivers, I mostly rely on word-of-mouth referrals from existing or past caregivers or for friends and family. Years ago, I also ran ads in the newspaper. Another idea is to reach out to a local technical college or university and see if you can get referrals from their nursing professors to put a message out to their nursing students. Now, I haven't done this myself, but others have had success posting on their Facebook page, in community Facebook groups, or on Facebook Marketplace. They share what they're looking for and the hours that they have available. I mean, really, just think, where are people spending time? You can also check out care.com, which is a website dedicated to people looking for different types of caregivers. I haven't found caregivers on there myself, but I know others who have had success with it. So really, it's just thinking outside of the box. Also, the high school in Ellsworth has a youth apprenticeship program where students are released from school to work while also getting school credit. Many schools have this. And I've been able to find women who are CNAs, which stands for Certified Nursing Assistants, who make great caregivers. Sometimes, when I need a few more shifts covered, I'll reach out to my prior caregivers and see if they want a few hours. And when I posted my most recent video about having a team of 7 to 10 caregivers, some people commented they were surprised that I have so many people. But keep in mind that I have only about 20 hours a week of caregiving help, and one caregiving shift is generally less than 2 hours long. although I do have 2 3-hour shifts in the course of a week. But most of the women who work for me are high school students, stay-at-home moms, or they have full-time jobs and they do this on the side. I have one caregiver who only works 6 hours a month. So it's a really great part-time job for people. I've had so many people work for me over the years, and I do get quite sad when they have to leave. But I just trust that God will provide and the next great person will come along. I do have to say that I do love it when people stay long-term. But as far as qualifications, a CNA license is helpful, but it's not a requirement. I mostly look for people who are dependable, no drama, fun to be around, and willing to learn. My care tasks are fairly simple. And in addition to my more personal cares, my caregivers do more general tasks like taking care of my cats and light cleaning. Now, at the time of recording this, I'm very aware that there's a caregiver shortage going on. I know many people have a very hard time finding good caregivers and getting people to stay. There seems to be a lack of loyalty. So here are a few pointers for those who use caregiving services. First, every situation is different, and it's not always cut and dry, but just remember to treat people the way that you want to be treated. 2, be an advocate for yourself and set standards for a healthy environment. 3, remember that it takes work to maintain and manage your relationships with your team. Sometimes this can be a full-time job. As for me, with my caregivers, I have a caregiver manual that when I hire someone, it includes all of my expectations and really lays out everything so they know how it's going to work. I'm very straightforward with my caregivers with what I expect if they're going to be working for me. But outside of that, I try to make this a really fun place for people to feel comfortable, where they want to come to work. I want them to feel comfortable chatting with me and sharing about their lives. We laugh together, we have game nights, we have Christmas parties. I buy their favorite candy as tokens of appreciation. I want them to feel valued and to know how much I appreciate them. And I think that those little things go a long way. So if you're receiving care, I know the frustrations and the sadness when a caregiver has to leave. And caregivers are going to leave. It's just a part of life. But thankfully, I've seen many caregivers leave and come back, and many have remained friends with me to this day. So in regards to the caregiver shortage, please know that this doesn't have to mean you have to settle when it comes to your cares. I used to think there weren't enough people, but there are people out there who are looking to become a caregiver, who would learn about being a caregiver and realize it fits their skill set. Many of my caregivers tell me that it's really rewarding work, but it is important that you seek out people who are kind, who are trustworthy, and who are dependable if you have that say in your cares. Finally, if you're watching this video and you're interested in becoming a caregiver, start with your CNA license. There are lots of jobs out there for home caregivers. In the state of Wisconsin, like in other states, there are programs for people who are on government assistance that allow them to choose their own caregivers and not have to go through agencies. You can find caregiver postings in lots of different places, like we talked about earlier in this video. So I hope this answered your questions about caregivers. Feel free to comment below, and if there's anything I missed, let me know. Thank you.